first of all, people see us on here like kicking it, and they're probably like, oh my Lord, because that's how I feel. Oh my gosh. Like, guys, can you believe it? I'm actually sitting here on live talking to, look, my friend Jeff, who just literally was, he practiced civil disobedience with me. We just got arrested in Washington, D.C., fighting to end the filibuster. And
when?
This happened last week. It happened last week. And Jeff is on here like, Jesus, I can't believe this. Like, he just came to the live to kick it with me. And then there is a great legend that has joined us. So I'm so excited to have you. And, you know, I think I've heard you say your name is not Iyanla, it's Iyanla. Is that correct?
It's Iyanla. It is Iyanla. Yes. Thank you.
Iyanla Vanzant.
I am so excited to be with, I have my book right here. I can't wait to get into it. It's going to be part of my summer reading. But I have watched you and prayed for you for so long. Yes. Even though you come from Harlem, I forgive you for that, because, you know, I'm out of Brooklyn. So
listen,
I forgive you. Harlem has been good to me.
I'm a Harlem girl all the way. And you know what? We're the nucleus. So the whole city operates off of the energy that comes out of Harlem. So it's okay. You'll be all right.
I'll forgive you.
Over there with the Brooklyn people.
I have just been, you know, lifting you up and holding you and praying for you for so long. You know, I'm an old OG revolutionary. So out of the East and Uhuru Sasa and all of that. So it's so good to know that there is a breath of fresh air coming back into New York, and I try to keep up with you. I missed last week. That one got by me.
No, you know, and sometimes I go overboard with trying to post pictures and whatnot, but sometimes I don't. You know, I need a whole session on your couch about why I don't at times now, because, you know, the attacks that we receive is serious, you know, and so sometimes I find myself just saying, I don't even need to talk about it. It just happened. It is what it is. But that doesn't necessarily work for our movement, because we need to spread the message and make sure that people know what's happening. So I have to do a better job.
Yeah.
But I will say that you and I share.
You also have to take care of yourself. I've read the page that I did read in your book was where you said, sometimes I get weary.
I get weary.
I do know that. I do know that.
I get weary. I do.
Assign one of your soldiers to do your posting. Assign one of your supporters, because I can tell you, like I said, as an OG revolutionary, you can't do it all, baby.
Yeah,
you just cannot do it all.
And they do, but they also, then I'm like, I kind of micromanage things, because I'm like, don't put that, don't say this, and I don't know, and I don't like it. So we all, you know, we have so much that happens that goes into what we are, and you know all about it. And I was going to say that we share a common loved one, and that is the Reverend Willie Wilson in Washington, D.C., and his entire family, the girls. It's just, when I found out that you also know them, then I fell in love with you, because I know if you're friends with them, you're a good person, because they're so amazing. Yeah. And I sat at the church. I don't know if this was the last time you were there, but certainly I was there. It was about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe.
When they did the celebration for him?
No, this was actually for the women. It was a women's gathering that we participated in. And you were the speaker. I believe it was a Friday night. Yeah. And you wiped me literally clean, to the point where I was laid out flat on the pew, and I couldn't move for at least an hour, because I needed every single word of what you have said. So I just want you to know that it's not just, oh my God, this is Iyanla Vanzant and I love her. No, but literally, physically and emotionally, you have touched me. And so I just appreciate that you would give me part of your platform and come on my platform to have this conversation.
Yeah, well, you are on our prayer list, because we need you, and we need you strong. We need you healthy. So delegate.
Yes.
Delegate. You delegate. We're praying. You're on the prayer list. So and if you need us to put anybody else on there, Just send me the names and we'll put them on.
Please
But
put me on it. Please.
oh, you've
put
been
me
on. You've been
it.
on. You've been on since. Oh, you've been on for about 1.5 years now. And there's a team of prayer warriors that pray every single day, and so you're on that list.
So that's how I'm surviving. So I know we both have short time here today, and I want to make sure I do the job that I'm supposed to be doing, because I could just be on here talking and crying and doing the whole thing, but I know we have an actual job. And first of all, I want to say that you have a book that is out now, and writing a book, I was talking to Jamel Hill earlier this morning, and she said that anybody who writes a book is insane because it's a lot of work. And this is your 4th book?
No, this book is 20-something years old.
Oh, so it's just a resurgence. It's
just a reissuing, because, you know, with everything that's going on in the world right now, people we got to do the work.
Yes.
You know, we can't do the outer work if we don't do the inner work.
Yes.
And coming up on this election next year, and, you know, we don't know what's really going on with the pandemic and all of the changes in the universe. We have got to do the work to keep our inner strength so that we can have outer determination.
Staying grounded. And so the book is called One Day My Soul Just Opened Up.
Yeah.
You know, you have a way with words. So of course, when someone looks at that, automatically I started crying. Like, one day my soul just opened up in so many ways. And this conversation is not as much about me, but there are moments when you feel it and you know that it's either opening because there's great pain and it needs to pour out, or it opens because there is healing that has taken place and you're like ready to experience in life. And so I think I probably experienced both things. But there are phases in the book. It's done in phases. And one of them is phase 6, honor life during our uncertain times.
Yeah.
And I feel like that speaks to the exact thing you were saying. It's at the center of, we're in pandemic, we're crazy time politics, so much happening all around us, and people are very uncertain. People, what they're certain about is they're not well as a result of everything that has happened. And so how did you come to, before, this is prophecy. This is, you were talking about this, as you said, many years ago. Why now did you feel like, okay, phase 6 is important for us to bring to people in this moment?
Because everything is changing. You know, everything is changing and we are resetting. Now, the challenge is we don't know how to be who we are becoming. We don't know how to be who we are becoming. And we can't use the things that we used when we were that other person. So it's important that we do the internal work and that we really look at being okay with these uncertain times, being okay with not knowing what's next, and just being here in this moment so that who we are becoming can unfold, as opposed to being snatched out or dragged out. It'll unfold if we are willing to do it differently. And I think that's what all of your work is about. We got to do this different.
Doing it different. How do we deal with the fear of doing it differently?
Surrender control. See, we only get afraid when we think we don't have control, because most of us are control freaks and we try to control everything to keep ourselves safe. But when we don't know what is next, when we're facing one of the great human fears, which is loss of control is one, fear of the unknown is 2, fear of weather is 3, you know, because we don't know what the universe is going to do. Look what just happened in Miami and in Florida. You know, we lift our hearts to those people and those souls that are leaving this planet and those that are still struggling to stay here. And the other great common human fear is fear of other people.
And so, what they will say and what they might do.
Say, what they'll do, whether they'll love you, accept you. So the only way we can deal with the fear is to surrender it and say, okay, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of this, 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 this. Tell the truth. And you know, truth is a rare commodity in the world today. Tell the truth about what you're afraid of. Take a breath and surrender it. And particularly in your in your generation, I think that there has to be a spiritual foundation because the physical structures have failed you so miserably, including my generation. We have failed you. We have failed you. So I really think that one day my soul just opens up, gives you tools and skills and principles to embrace so that you can build that inner resolve.
And so you, well, I don't know if you're focused on, but I know I watched the show, and Black women are clearly a major concern of yours. So how does what we see in the book apply to Black women and where we are now and what you think we need to be doing, since we really are in many ways the leaders of our community? And that's a lot of pressure.
Well, one of the things, one day my soul just opens up, gives you principles, and principles are spiritual building blocks, because many of us are moving on instinct. Some of us are moving on habit. Some of us are moving in rage. Some of us are moving in reaction. Some of us are moving in rebellion and defiance. And that's not going to take us far. But the principles will build the level of internal resolve and character that we need so that we don't get tired, exhausted, we don't fall down. Because when you're living and moving in principle, you will be guided internally. I'm sure you didn't wake up one day and say, okay, I'm just going to be a social activist and go out and challenge the institutions.
No.
Something inside directed you and guided you. And some of us are with you, or some of your comrades are with you because, like I said, some of them in anger, some of them are rebellion. No. Those things are not going to take you the long haul. So for Black women, we have to begin to develop a character that is grounded in principle. And many of us are not.
But we think we are. But we think we are, right?
Yeah, we think we are.
I'm living right, you know, but that's not what you're talking about.
No, and the reason we think we are is because we've been indoctrinated and enculturated into a culture and a system that is really anti who we are. So we keep trying to live up to what the culture and the society are saying, and they keep rejecting us, and we don't understand why. But when you're moving in principle, it don't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they do. I remember the years and years and years, 35, 40 years ago, when a Black woman talking about spirituality outside of the church told me that I was a devil worshiper and a demon and everybody else. And now, oh, here comes Iyanla. Why? Because I moved on principle. I moved in integrity and accountability and responsibility and compassion and love and trust and forgiveness. This is what I'm talking about. So I was able to keep moving against the opposition. And that's what I think we need to do today.
Wow. I think folks are saying that there may be some breaking.
Yeah, I can now.
Okay, good. So hopefully this will solve the problem.
Okay.
I don't know why we pay the internet companies, because it doesn't work. So even though I'm connected to the internet in my home, the regular old stuff that you use outside works better. So my apologies.
No worries.
And of course, it's a real expensive bill, and they've got machines all throughout the whole house, but it doesn't work.
And I live in the woods. I live in the bushes. So the trees come in the summer and my signal is like crazy.
All right. Yeah. And they don't tell you that when they sign you up.
No.
They don't operate on principle. So, okay. So even though, so you say we're trying to be indoctrinated. I mean, wow. Like
not trying to be, we are.
We are.
If you were educated in this system, and you were educated in public school or this society, you've been indoctrinated and enculturated. And so there are certain expectations of us, and we have certain expectations of this world that are externally referenced. And then one day my soul opens up, I talk about how to be internally referenced, so that when we get into a state of emergency, you understand, we don't respond to the external. We respond from the internal, which is long lasting, which is clear, you know, and that's what I think so many of us, particularly as women of color, that we have to start doing. We got to stop being addicted and attached to the external.
And you said that before, I don't want this to go over anyone's head. Before you became well appreciated by those members of the church, the Black church, obviously,
and the Black community,
and the Black community,
yeah,
they called you names too. They said it was an evil spirit. So there
evil
was a
spirit. They couldn't say my name. Ooh. They wanted to dig up all kind of dirt about me. Oh, she was this, she was that. I told my own story. You don't have to dig. Don't waste your time digging up no dirt on me.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
I smoked reefer and slept with a married man. That ain't got nothing to do with right now.
That happened. And the same thing happened with me. I had a secret, or at least it was a secret. Well, it was a secret. And that was that I had been addicted to prescription medication, and I had to go to rehab. And the people in the rehab, one person I know for sure, he knew, because he mentioned to me someone else that I know. He said, oh, you know, have you ever met or heard of this person? So I said, okay, that was his way of letting me know that he knew who I was. And beyond that, and then, you know, of course, for years, I never heard anything from him, but it always was in the back of my mind. And then I had a friendship that fell apart. And I heard the friend say one day, you dope fiend, or something like that, in the midst of a really bad conversation. And I said, oh, I have to go tell people, because what I'm doing is giving too much power to other folks. And and of course, in life, none of us are perfect. There's always something going on. And it feels like exactly what you have said. I have reached a place in my life where there are other things that I just want to tell it. So, hey, you can take it and do whatever you want with it, because you don't get to judge me in the end.
Yeah.
You know?
But the thing is, what did you learn? And see, that's why principles are important. Principles are very, very important, because it doesn't matter what happens or how it unfolds if you learn the lesson and then you do atonement and you redirect. And what we're all doing right now is reset. We've all just come out of a sickness, whether you had COVID or not. But the sickness of being dependent on a job, the sickness of not wanting to sit still, the sickness of being in a household and with people that you don't even like, the sickness of, you know, just really being so externally driven and addicted. And if we didn't have principles, you know, because see, when the COVID, I said, oh, this is about surrender and reflection. Okay, so I have to sit my butt down, surrender control, surrender everything. This is about trust. How am I going to eat? I'm not, look at my butt. I don't need to eat. Oh, Lord, I don't have no toilet paper. People were bringing me toilet paper, you know, because
everything
I was never
you need.
home. So again, surrender is a principle. Trust is a principle. Reflection is a principle. Compassion is a principle. Self-forgiveness. These are principles that working with them and using them build us on the inside so that we can be of greater use on the outside.
So I know you're not doing your show right now, because I get the sense you will say no, but you know how artists will say they retired and they're going on.
I'm retired.
Yeah, but then you're going to find out that so many of us need you. So I'm wondering, is there a line at the back door of your house that we can get on?
No.
Even though the cameras may not be there.
Well, you know, I'm teaching online. I just did a healing ancestral patterns class that I'm going to do again in the fall, because that's another big thing for us, healing ancestral patterns, particularly now with all of this conflagration and hoopla about voting and policing. We have to break those patterns within us that really cause us to react as opposed to build and create and respond. I
Yeah.
just did, I'm training an army of spiritual warriors. Right now, they're on duty praying for Florida.
Wow.
I just did a releasing sexual trauma class.
Ooh.
So my passion and my purpose is teaching. So I'll find a way to teach.
No matter what, no matter where you are.
I'm no longer choosing to do it in front of the camera.
Okay, so I know we've got to go. So let me just go to this other area in terms of where the show and you as the leader impacted me, and that's with my son. My son is 22 years old. Peace is not peaceful right now. Peace is
Wait a minute.
It's okay.
They are just, hold on. Peace. Know your name. Act like your name is
Peace be still.
Yes, go ahead. Your son is.
So my son, his name is Tariq. He is 22 years old. And throughout our time together, these 22 years, mommy has made some big mistakes. You know, I've spent so much time on the road around. Okay, so we together. Mommy's made some mistakes. Mommy hasn't always been present when needed. Mommy has been very, very much so engaged in my life and my work. And my child has suffered as a result of it, bottom line. Also, but yet and still, I've never made the mistake of not being there for him and trying to be, it's cool. The dogs are not bothering me. And okay. Trying to, we only get a few minutes of your time, so dogs can bark, everything can be happening, and we're on key, because I know this is an important piece. Regardless of whether I was here, there, and the third, I've always been me and my son, and he knows that. And I have tried to help him along the way by not trying to be his friend and being apologetic for not being there, but to keep my foot down and to be 10 toes down with him about what it is that I expect from him in terms of his life and development. And that gets on his nerves because, of course, he would like for me to say, oh, I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you, and therefore you don't have to read that book or do that thing or go to school or go to your job, whatever it is. And that wasn't going to happen. So we had a lot of boom, 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 because mommy was still mommy. From wherever I was in the world, mommy was still mommy. Right. And I have learned over time to apologize to him when I'm wrong. And so I've done a lot of that. But there was this one day that I apologized to him, not because something happened. I apologized to him because of your show. And it was a show where there was a young Black man. I don't know his name. He had dreads, and we wouldn't say his name here today anyway. And he and his mom were having some conflict. And you called his mother's attention to her behavior and how she was demeaning towards him. Yeah, and how she had been harmful to him. And I sat and watched that show, and I broke into pieces because I had been taught ancestrally, if you will, or at least from my family lineage, that the right way to deal with my son in his moments of trying to maneuver around the rules and regulations was to tell him off in the hard, like I would get, you know, I'm a Black woman. My mouth I can cut like a knife, you know, and I don't play. And my mother was like that. She didn't play a game. And guess what? It was necessary at times with us growing up. Go ahead. I'm going with you. No, okay. It was okay. So it was necessary at times with us growing up in the projects, you know, we were in Harlem. It was pretty wild. And at times she had to let it be known that if you jump, I'm going to jump too. And, you know, if you jump, I'm going to jump. Go ahead. Do what you got to do.
Wait. You got to wait. I'm working. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. So if my her position was, if you jump, you got an attitude, I would knock you from here into the next society.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't play OG. She still to this day will tell me, call the police, call the ACS, call whoever it is that you need to call. But you play with me up in my house and disrespect me, I will take you out of here. So of course, many times that was the conversation that I had to have, or that I had with my son. And after watching your show, I realized how much I had hurt him and how I had stripped him of so much by responding to him in a way like he was a Negro in the street, you know. And I called him. Matter of fact, I texted him and then I told him, I want to apologize, because I realized that the way in which I was trained, unfortunately, is the way that they were trained. And it has gone on for so long. And I thought that this was the right thing, but all I wanted to do was protect you. But nonetheless, it was just wrong. And he responded to me, Mom, and I sent him a clip of the show, and he responded to me and said, Mom, thank you. Since that day, even though we still go toe to toe at times, our relationship is completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different. And I think it's because I acknowledged that I was wrong. And so I just want to say thank you for that. I hope people actually see that show, Mothers and Their Sons. Later on, my son and I did a live together maybe 2 or 3 times since then. And I didn't know until we went out publicly with some of our issues, how many other Black mothers were on my social media feed who needed the conversation between the two of us, so that they could go home and deal with their own issues. So I know it wasn't a question, but hopefully you can talk about that as we try to close this today.
Yeah, good for you. The mother-daughter relationship is difficult. The mother-son relationship is delicate. It's delicate. A mother-daughter relationship will either survive or break. The mother-son relationship, once it's damaged, not only is the mother changed, but the man.
The man.
Yeah. You see, fathers disappoint their sons. Mothers destroy them.
Ooh.
And let me tell you why. Because our mouth, our voice, is attached to their heart. The first thing a child hears, male or female, is the mother's heartbeat. That's the first thing. The second thing is her voice. Our sons lived in us. They know our heartbeat and they know our voice. And that is what connects them to the experience of life and living, that voice and that heartbeat. And as OG mothers, here is how I got it. This is how the ancestors and the Holy Spirit gave it to me.
Wow.
Our ancestors, our grandmothers, great-great-great-grandmothers, they held their sons in a different way, protecting them in a different way. Because as women, they could survive a rape. But their sons and husbands couldn't survive a hanging. Can you hear me? Can't survive a hanging. That gene is still alive in us. So we coddle and cover and protect our sons in a way, knowing that they can't survive a hanging. And today, the hanging is police brutality. The hanging is a knee on the neck. A hanging is 7.5 to 15 for an ounce of crack or whatever it is. That's the hanging today. So we are so afraid of them being hung until we try to beat them into submission to us because of our fear that the world will get them.
Yeah.
It's ancestral.
Wow.
And it requires a shift in consciousness, because many of the tools that we were taught as mothers and as women of color, I am both Black and Native American. That's a whole nother story. The combination make you want to drink brown liquor. But many of the tools and the approaches and the things that we were taught and that we use don't work for the sensibilities of their souls today. They grew up differently. You understand? I grew up with 5 television channels. You may have grown up with 100. Now there's 1,000.
Right.
Okay.
Period.
So as moms, what we have to begin doing is raising a whole person and not just our sons. Raise a whole person. His mind, you got to know his mind. How does he think? How does he figure things out? His heart, what is sensitive to him? What makes him soft? You know, what's his love language? Every mother should know her son's love language, because if she can't get into that, is it quality time? Is it words of affirmation? Is it giving? I know that my son's love language are words of affirmation. I have to constantly, not because his ego needs it, but because that's what opens his soul. What's your son's love language?
I think my son's love language is definitely conversation. Just that quality talk time. Yeah.
Good. So, you know, not only if you need something, want something, call him and talk about whatever, you know. And mothers need to know that. Start looking at your son as a whole person, not just as your son. The other thing I did was, when my son turned, he must have been 20, and he was at God's Vacation Retreat Center, aka the penitentiary, where he had to go to retreat to the center of his soul to meet the God of his understanding, because that's really what it's about. I stopped being his mother. I stopped. And I said to him, because like you, everything that my son needed, I learned it after he needed it. I didn't know
he needed it.
After he needed it. And so I never apologized to him, but I have asked for forgiveness. And I still ask for forgiveness. Time and time. I ask for forgiveness even for something as simple as choosing his father. That was my choice. Okay. And it turned out to be not a good one. It was good in the sense
that you got him.
I got my son, but not in the sense that we could model for him how to be in relationship. Wow. So anyway, I stopped mothering him, and I don't even call him my son anymore. I call him by his name, because as a mother, I have to remember that he is an adult.
It's hard.
Okay. And every time I say my son, I'm looking to fix, to change, to do, to give, to boo. And so it wasn't for him, it's for me. He knows he is my son. And, you know, he knows he would take a bullet for me. I would take one.
Baby.
But I had to recondition my mind to be his mother and stop mothering.
Stop mothering. I mother all day. I mother all day, all night.
Oh, no. How old is he?
I'm getting better. He's 22. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I've gotten out of his business, whatever he's got going on with his living quarters and all of that. But I was talking to him the other night, and he's on the phone, and I'm looking in the FaceTime in the back. Get those cups. You know, why y'all got them? And then
Mama,
I said,
Mama.
Stop it. Because he's like, why are you focus on the conversation?
Yeah. You know,
it's
hard, but you can retrain yourself. Remember, he's a man, and look at him as a whole human being. And the good seeds that you planted in that soil will continue to grow. But it's no longer your job to pull the weeds. One of the things that my son said to me that I had to learn, he said, "Ma, one of the best things that can ever happen to a man is that he falls flat on his face." Because once he's on his face, he learns how to be a man by picking himself up. If everybody keeps coming in and picking him up, he's never going to trust his own self as a man. He's flat on his face. He's got to figure out how to get up. And once he gets up, he's got it. So I had to let him fall. I had to turn my face. I had to retire from the let me help you committee. I had to retire. I had to resign from the Mama Make It Better committee. I had to leave all of those committees so that his soul would open up. He had to learn to trust himself, because all his life, the first 18 years of his life, his voice didn't matter. His needs didn't matter. What mattered was me, my voice. And it was attached to his heart. Then we throw him out in the street and say, okay, what do you want to be? We never let him be.
We never let him learn that, because we was being it for him.
Yes. But So what I would say to mothers out there is look at your male offspring. That means he's 18 or older.
Right.
Male offspring as a whole human being. Learn his mind. Let me tell you something. I can get anything I want out of my son with two things. And one is some potato salad. He will walk a country mile naked for my potato salad. Okay, that's number one. And number two, that special thing. He loves chocolate milk. My son is 50.
So
and he will come in my house and I have to have his Hershey syrup so he can have his chocolate milk. And he will do anything in the world for me.
Your son is 50.
My son is 50.
Wow, 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 wow. I mean, well, people look at me and they go, your son is 22. Yeah, we were at it pretty young. But,
yeah.
And it all worked out. But I'll tell you what, it was pretty dangerous. But we made it through. We did. Yeah. I'm so grateful that you can. We please have to do this again.
Anytime.
We have to do it again. It's so much I could say to you about how amazing you are, what you've done for Black people, for Black women. I know, and I've watched you, and I know that sometimes people don't understand how important it is to have someone that's willing to snatch us back into reality. Because we get far out there. And so your voice is stabilizing. You're not just a motivational speaker or a fixer.
Never have been.
That is not what I see. I see someone who has an amazing spiritual connectedness to Black folks and rooted in our history, and also a freedom fighter. And I just want to tell you that I appreciate you so much. And I don't feel worthy of even that you're on my live. I just have to say
what
that.
Are you? I don't. Cancel. Absolutely. You are absolutely more than worthy. I don't know who passed the baton to you, but somebody passed the baton. And what you're doing, I hope you know it is not choice. It is purpose.
Yeah,
it is purpose.
Yeah.
So what I've learned about purpose is that as long as you are on purpose, the provision will be provided. But you must, beloved, you must take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Taking care of you is taking care of God so that your purpose can unfold in a powerful way.
Yes.
So I'm here. I thought, as a Black woman, when I die, they're going to put some black and dark and lovely in the casket with me.
No, they won't. Tell them you don't want it.
I'm so glad to be an elder and to be able to speak the truth. I'm so glad to no longer have to worry about whether or not people like me or agree with what I say. Grandma's crazy. She says stuff and you don't like it, but when you sit down at the table because you want some of that cornbread.
That's it.
So I'm glad to be an elder. I'm glad to the love and the respect that the community shows me. I take that. It's a privilege. And I never want to betray it. And so, Iyanla means great mother. It means great mother. So I've learned how to mother in a universal way. And in Lakota, in Sisleki, my patriarchal lineage, my name is Iya Iopiapi, which means the people recognize her voice. So I am the great mother, and the people recognize my voice.
A great mother. And the people recognize your voice.
Yes.
Whoa.
Ya Iopiapi is my Lakota name. So I want to keep my voice out there as guidance. I'm too old to march, but if y'all go marching, I'll bring you some water.
You bring us. No, we want some chocolate milk. Okay. And what's the other thing you said?
Potato salad.
Don't bring us some water. We can get some water. We need potato salad and chocolate milk. One day my soul just opened up. That is a book that Miss Vanzant has re-released during uncertain times for us to have an opportunity to search deep and to find a way to ground and center ourselves during just everything. So much craziness that's going on all around us. We need to get purposeful. It's
It's
purposeful.
purposeful. And
They're
you better know that the ancestors are behind it. This is freedom. I want y'all to see freedom.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.